I think the great thing about the MLF course is that, as you will probably have seen from the earlier discussion, when we're talking to clients, when we're doing our day job, what we're looking at is obviously legal knowledge, which we are assumed to have. I think what you also need to have is an understanding of how the world works, how the financial world works, in particular, how economics relate to law and the various things that you are doing. I think there are several benefits to it. And one is that if you are doing a job that involves regulation or legal regulation, it's very good to know what the economic effect of that regulation is going to be. So we heard some examples earlier where people were talking about whether you had too much regulation and whether that drove particular economic behaviour, it drove market behaviour, it drove people in and out of markets. So I think that's essential to have that sort of overview of what you're doing. I think you look at other areas of the law, you look at competition law, you look at finance law, which is what I do, and the question of sort of why are you doing this and why is the law being applied in this particular way? There are two answers to that. There's a very straight law answer, which of course is what I was taught at university, which was here's the legal principle, here's how you apply it, here's how you deal with this in a commercial world. On top of that and around it is all of the economic consequences of doing something like that, and I think that adds a huge amount actually to what you do as a practitioner in your career. What I think is probably the main benefit to me is having been through the career path I have, which is doing law degrees and just going for law, and then actually almost backfilling all the economic knowledge and the broader knowledge around that. I would really quite have appreciated having the opportunity, I suspect, at the beginning of my career to look at things a little bit more in the round, to look at things in depth when you have time to look at them, and around that, and to get a really good grounding in how all of that fits together. So speaking from personal experience, it's something that I think a lot of people that are coming through into the profession, into the legal profession, would benefit from enormously. And as you heard earlier, there's clearly a view that people going into other professions, banking, etc., would benefit the other way around from having a sort of legal mix with the economic and other knowledge that they get. So I think it's a very, very beneficial thing to do. We look at all sorts of people graduating from universities, doing post-master degrees, etc., and we have always looked with a lot of benefit, I guess, on people who are coming in with that more rounded experience and the ability to develop their career the way with that more rounded experience.
I'm going to give you a biased answer as someone who started off as a lawyer, studied law, and have ended up doing finance. I think, to me, the benefit that I now have in my current role, and indeed the role that I had as a FIG banker, having had the training as a lawyer, has really allowed me to bring something different, first of all, to the advice that I used to give my clients, a lot of which actually was legal-based, be it contractual negotiation, be it a structure to a meeting, be it a framework to just address in a fairly complex corporate environment a series of issues in an orderly way, all the way through to in the middle of the financial crisis, the restructuring that was required, be it at banking system level or bank level, to nowadays the advice, first of all, that I was giving as a FIG banker around the implications of future regulation, all the way through to the requirements now for restructuring under the various global ring fencing requirements. And I do genuinely believe that whether it is in strategy, which I now am, whether it is in advisory front end with clients, whether it's working in compliance department, your legal department, your investor relations department, whether it's working front end in different parts of our client product set, the ability to bring to that dialogue with your clients or your internal partners both a legal and a finance background, I think has never been more at a premium.
Look, I think it's a unique course. It's something that there is a real need for, both in law firms and in financial institutions, banks and insurance companies in particular. the wall of regulation post-crisis is changing the whole way businesses operate, changing the whole way you have to think about how you manage your business, how you make it safe, how you serve your customers properly, and how you think about both responding to regulation and the markets. There is no other course that I'm aware of that targets specifically this nexus. You either get people with a finance background or you get people with a legal background. The markets are currently crying out for this skill set, in my view. I've launched a particular program with my institution to try and hire MLF students to precisely plug that gap, and I'm sure I'm not alone. So I would encourage people to apply to this program and really get the most out of it, because it's going to make you very employable.